Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to the second workshop of the day. As we've seen so far, the hackathon is quite busy. We have a busy schedule with a lot of workshops prepared, and today is one of the days we have two. I already see that we have both Dennis and Nimish from the AZERO team, who will be the ones to present the workshop for today. Hello, Nimish.
Hi, Ethan.
Amazing. Happy to have you both here. I don't know what the distribution is going to be between the two of you with regards to the workshop. So yeah, feel free to introduce yourself, take it away, talk a bit about AZERO.ID and how all the hackers can make use of it.
Great. So yeah, I will just start by sharing my screen and check everything is working.
And just to quickly address the question that's in the chat, for those of you that didn't manage to catch the previous workshop, all of the workshops will be recorded. I mean, they are recorded, and the recordings will be uploaded to the Hacker Pack. So please refer to the Hacker Pack for the recordings. They will be made available in roughly 12 hours. So, I mean, tomorrow morning should be fine. They should be visible, and you will be able to follow.
Just another second. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes.
Great. I also dropped the link of the slides in the chat, so everyone who just wants to follow on their own, they are invited to do so. Great. I will just start. Today's workshop is about how to integrate AZERO.ID in your dApp. We are giving away a bounty if you do so. But let's come to this later. I think we will just start by introducing ourselves, Nimish. So I will go ahead. I'm Dennis, or Dennis Zoma on Twitter. I'm the co-founder of SIO Labs and AZERO.ID. I'm the technical co-founder, I would say, but I'm mainly my main focus is, I would say, being a full stack developer, which I also showed off in my first workshop where I introduced our dApp boilerplate Hackathon, which is mainly about being a full stack boilerplate. And yeah, please also meet Nimish. Nimish, do you want to go ahead real quick?
Yep. Hi guys, I'm Nimish Agrawal. I am the protocol lead at AZERO.ID. I am managing the smart contracts which are behind the AZERO.ID and doing R&D for the future steps and things that we can integrate so that your life is easy. And today I will share how you can integrate your contracts with our AZERO.ID applications.
Amazing, yeah. Nimish is our ink and rust wizard. So if you need help along the way integrating anything, make sure to drop by at our Discord or Telegram group. I will share the links later. But first, what actually is AZERO.ID? If you guys are requested to integrate it, it probably makes sense to explain it a bit first. So it's at its core a Web3 domain name service. So I guess most of you are familiar with ENS, Ethereum Name Service. It's at its core, it's something like that, but written poorly in ink and Rust, and with a few core differences in terms of the architecture. Obviously, we have deployed on Aleph Zero with the top-level domain .a0, and our mainnet is live since August, I think. And since then, already there have been already almost 3,000 domain registrations with more than 800 unique users. So we getting quite some traffic. So I invite all of you to try it out. Also on our testnet, of course, if you just want to play around with it and try ink dApp in the wild. I think we have been actually one of the very first ink for production ready mainnet dApps. So that's, I think, a great thing to try out for all of you. And actually, a funny thing or funny story which I want to bring up here at the hackathon. This project actually originated at the hackathon almost a year ago, not a full year. It was Oh yeah, almost more than a year already. We have October. Oh, year runs fast. It was last September at ETH Warsaw, where my co-founder and me and two other friends started the project as a hackathon, and like we built a working prototype with Ink smart contracts and some kind of React front end in I think about 14 or 15 hours overnight almost. And yeah, like we had like a very rough prototype running, and since then all started. We received the grant to continue working on it, incorporated the company, raised the financing round, built up a team, got like reworked everything since then, obviously, from like the protocol to the front end to the design and everything. So I just want to use this like to encourage all of you that like what you are like building today can be like your company in a couple of months and can be like the next big thing. So it like we started where you are right now 1 year ago. Yeah, as I already said, we deployed on AZERO mainnet. And like a few of the pains we had when building Ink full stack dApp, like because Ink is obviously a very young ecosystem, so the tooling isn't quite there yet where it's at EVM. So one thing I especially was I missed a lot coming from EVM world and also participating in hackathons a lot last year was something like Scaffold Eve to like kickstart your development or to set a working repository with front end and contract in one repository up and running in a matter of minutes. So that's why like we took the chance to build it ourselves. It's called Hackathon, and that what my first workshop was basically about it. So like for all of you that haven't attended, I encourage you to check it out and maybe use it for your hackathon. What's our vision? Like we are deployed on mainnet, like a working domain name service, but of course, like we have many things floating around in our head where we actually see the current status only as some kind of V1, like very basic implementation, even though it's working quite well. Like we have two main visions, I would say. First is we want to build the first ever private domain name service on AZERO, which will be possible via Liminal, how they call their like privacy SDK they're going to offer. So this actually will enable us to be like the very first domain service provider that can actually obfuscate the connection between the resolving wallet address and the domain. So you can use your domain like Dennis.azero on your Twitter handle or wherever you like to use it, and you can use it to receive funds. But no one can actually copy and paste this into the block explorer and see all your assets, see what you earn, and so on. So actually, in our opinion, solving one of the biggest problems Web3 domains currently face. And our second vision is expanding to the Zoma ecosystem with the XCM technology quite soon, actually, which enables us to like deploy one unique namespace across all parachains and make it able to like register your domain, manage your domain, and trade your domain from every other parachain in a trustless manner. So we are currently working on a Web3 Foundation grant to research building the very first XCM-enabled Ink contract. So if you like want to get updates on this, make sure to follow us. We will share something very soon. Yeah, and now let's come to the like main part where all of you are here for the Hackathon Bounty. We are sponsoring $1,000 US for the best project using either AZERO.ID or Hackathon. So can be both, don't have to be both. Like Hackathon means like you just used the boilerplate to scaffold your project and you're already qualified. We can check that out at your code base like very quickly. And integrating AZERO.ID means integrating it in a like quite innovative way, or with doing something unique, or like having some kind of deeper integration with it, not just resolving domains to addresses or the other way around. That's like probably a little bit too boring. And also it's already pre-integrated in the Hackathon boilerplate. So in theory, you wouldn't have to do anything to have this. Yeah, that's also what the rest of this workshop is about. What integration use cases do we have? How can you actually integrate in a technical manner, and some examples. So I will start with the use cases. As I said, you can, of course, with a domain service, resolve a domain to a resolving address. We have like a role system, which you can check out in our documentation. Oh, and by the way, I have a few links at the end of the slides. I shared the link in the chat. If there's one thing you take from the workshop, we have a very well-written documentation with a lot of examples, like a very in-depth integration guide. So like definitely bookmark this if you're going to apply for one of our bounties, for our bounties, sorry. The other way where you can resolve something is from a wallet address to a domain. But like there's like one little caveat which I would like to mention here. And one address can of course own multiple domains. Like domains are like just NFTs. One wallet can hold many of them. That's why we set up this concept of primary domains. So if you want to use like Dennis.AZERO as your primary domain, as your like Web3 identity, if you connect to a dApp, you want to have it in the upper right corner, then you have to do this manually or like proactively. So if you're resolving an address to a domain, just make sure to like, also when trying stuff out, to like define the domain actually as your primary domain, and that you can only get like one primary domain, obviously, as multiple would not make much sense. Then we like have a very modular metadata system, which is like not like you would expect like traditional NFT metadata. It's like a really like very flexible key value storage on chain, fully on chain, and you can like update. You can write basically any data that's like valid to be stored in a smart contract storage. Of course, there under specific keys. Also, like check out our metadata documentation in the docs, where like we make a suggestion, or like there's actually an ENS IP proposal which makes a suggestion on how to call your keys. For example, there's this reverse dot notation, I think. Com dot whatever use this as your keys. If you want to write any data there, that's like a possible integration. A second integration, as like our domains, as I said, are like just NFTs following the PSP34 OpenBrush standard. You can do all the stuff you can do with NFTs, and probably even a bit more stuff, as like we are not just like boring PFP NFTs, but like rather NFTs with a lot of utility and functionality. So you can do integrations on that level, and like anything that comes to your mind, you want to build on top, you want to build some front end around some special feature leveraging AZERO.ID, or like you are building like a very special protocol and I think it makes sense to integrate us, just like go for it. Surprise us. We really value creativity here. Let's go, let's get a bit more technical here. Today I will not do live coding as in my last workshop, but like instead present some very simple examples on how to especially resolve domains to addresses and addresses to domains, which is like super simple, because on the front end level, we build a JavaScript library, which you don't even have to set up Polkadot.js, you don't have to store contract addresses or contract metadata. Like this library does all of that for you. I will like go through some examples very quickly. And on the contract level, which will be presented by Nimish, like it's also, we just like right before the call, we published our like new crate, Rust crates, which makes it even easier to also integrate our contracts on a contract level within Inc. So like no tedious cross-contract calls by your hand. Nimish is going to present this in a second. Let's have a closer look into the front-end level integration. As I said, we have this resolver library, AZERO.ID /resolver, but like that's actually only the like parent selector for two packages. Like there's one vanilla JavaScript package, which is called resolver core, and one React hooks package, which is called resolver React. Like just check out the links in the slides. If you're like going to install the React package, it uses the core package under the hood, and I think actually you need to install both, being able to use it. And like if you just like, for example, you have a Vue project, or your project has no front end but some kind of scripts running on the server, or yeah, just some JavaScript scripts, use the core package. Like, as I said, with those packages, you don't need to set up Polkadot.js API. This is done for you. You can, if you already have a Polkadot.js API promise existing, you can provide it, and like the library doesn't create a new one, which is like more performant and efficient. So if you already have one, I would recommend doing that actually. And you don't have to manage our contract addresses or metadata, and also no chain RPCs and stuff. Like just give an identifier of the chain you're on to the call, and it will do all the rest under the hood. And it's pre-integrated in the boilerplate. So if you actually want to see it like how it's working live, just go to Hackathon.xyz, connect the wallet where you actually own a domain, and then it's already fetching the domain and displaying it instead of the wallet address. So I will go through two examples, one vanilla examples where I'm resolving a domain to the address, and then one React example where I do the other way around to just show both. If I want to resolve a domain to a wallet address, obviously I need to have a domain, which is in this case hard-coded domains.t0. T0 is the top-level domain for our testnet. Make sure if you want to join our testnet to check out the testnet documentation and just like ping us so we can give you access on our Discord. It's Discord gated, but you also don't have to use the testnet if you don't want to. It's just a promise function, so you can await it, and it returns an object with an address if there was an address found for the domain, and an error if there was an error. So you can supply an options object. This is like documented here under this link. If you're going to use a testnet, you have to supply LF0 testnet. It's just like an enum with a hard-coded chain ID. And some other things you can provide here is, for example, the API promise to don't let the package to the library to recreate it a second time. Then, like with a little TypeScript trick, if you check if there is an error and there actually is no error, like already the address variable is like set to be a string. So like that's just a nice way of checking. You can see it in your VS Code when you're hovering. Like if you don't do the error check, like address can be a string or undefined. And if you do it and it's false or like falsified error, the address is like set to be a string, and you can be sure there is some kind of value here, and the domain is existing and resolving to an address. Now let's go to a React example where we like make it even easier with predefined hooks, so that you don't have to like use some kind of use effects and then some tricks to like do async calls in your use effects. I know we all have done it. So like just use the hooks and that saves you another couple of lines of code. I do the other way around here. I'm resolving a wallet address to a primary domain. So I'm supplying like this is the call. Use resolve address to domain. The other one is use resolve domain to address. That's a hard-coded address I'm providing, and again the options object, and then the same as I said previously. Either there is a primary domain or an error non-undefined. Yeah, you also see at the top that I'm importing this function from the resolver React package and like this enum from the resolver core package. So you actually need to install both of them. I would like to pass to Nimish, who's like going to do the rest of the presentation regarding integrating on the contract level.
Yep, thanks, Danish. So, like before we start with the how to integrate with the contract, so let's first understand like how the protocol looks like. So on the user-facing side, we have primarily like domain routers and the registries. So these are the two contracts which you will be interacting with. In the most of the casing, in the like resolving cases, it is only the router. And if you are like handling the metadata, then in that case you can go through the registry as well. So like we have couple of APIs that the users as well as the dApps can use, like get address, get primary domain, get registry, as we saw in the front-end integration example. And then the router handles the TLD, like if it is a .A0, so it will pass to the registry of A0 contract, and if it is some other TLD. So right now we have the support of two TLDs. The A0 is for the mainnet on LF0, and for the LF0 testnet we have the T0, as Dennis said earlier. So moving on, we will, like, Dennis, can you please show the slide? Yep. So like there are a lot of ways to integrate on the front end or the contract side. So here I will showcase the one which is the easiest of all of them. So it's just a two-step process. Like you have to add our integration crate in your cargo toml file. So this is like AZNS integration, and just like you just need to add these two lines in the dependency and the features.standard, and then you can your library file. Next slide. Yeah, so you import the account ID or domain, like it is an enum, which is an overarching account type. Like if a user wants to provide the account ID, so they can pass the account ID within the account ID enum. And if they have a domain, so they can like pass the domain string inside the domain enum. So you can have the support, you can extend your application so that users who don't have the domain yet with us can still continue using the account ID. And if a user wants to use their domain, so they can just pass the domain enum variant. So you first include the domain enum, and in your structure, in the storage side, you have to store our domain router so that you don't have to pass the address each time. So you can store it once, and then like after initialization, there's a like simple example, simple integration. So what it does is it takes the user enum or the user object, and it resolves to the associated account ID with it if it exists. Like if it doesn't exist, so it returns none enum. So it's just like user.getAddress, and we pass the domain router within it. So that's how simple it is to integrate on the contract side. Dennis, can you please go to the next slide? Yeah, so there are other integration guides, like if you want to have some manual integration, so we have provided like how you can get the selectors, how you can make a low-level call, or how you can make use of traits to make the calls to the A0 router or the registry library. And you can find the deployment addresses that you will need to integrate with us so that you can access the data that is already on the mainnet and the testnet. And the integration crate, you can have a look. There are other contract references that you can make use of so that you can add things that you think may be needed to have a complex use case, but in a general integration, the previous method is sufficient. So that's all on the contract level integration side. Moving on,
Amazing.
We have further links. Maybe Dennis, if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, not much to tell here. Like, as I said, like our docs are like very extensive, so make sure to check them out. Make sure to join our Discord if you like want to ask me or Nimish, but we will also be in the Encode Discord and answer your questions. Check out our testnet documentation if you want to like register testnet domains on the AZERO testnet. Rewatch my Hackathon workshop if you want to use our full stack boilerplate to like kickstart your Ink dApp. Check out the official Ink docs and the AZERO docs. Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, great. I will stop the presentation now and open for any of your questions.
First of all, just wanted to say that Dennis really appreciated your stories because that is something that we've been trying to convey to the majority of our hackers, that the programs such as this one are not just for like winning prizes. You're literally meeting someone that might be your co-founder, someone that you'll be building a company with, getting the next steps of your life together really with a program such as this one. So a simple challenge might be the game changer for you. So don't be afraid to engage with new tech. Obviously, Ink is quite new. There's not that much of examples, but still quite a lot of interesting documentation that can be made, that can be useful for you. So again, my call to action for everyone that is attending these workshops is just get your hands dirty, try and create something. And it might not be the project that changes everything for you, but it will give you the foundation to build on. So eventually it will all pay out. So just be, resilient, and hopefully eventually it will work out just as it did for Dennis and Nimish. So yeah, I see that Frank has been having troubles with, getting Frank AZERO.ID, which is
seems to be already claimed.
But I think like it's like 5 or like you can go through the use.inc, like they have a lot of documentation, and also like maybe I can share the link on the chat box so that it is easy.
The last slide basically had a lot of interesting links, Colonel. So these are the links that you can go to and basically get a basic understanding of what Ink is and how you can get to build with it.
Actually, on our documentation, it is assumed that you will already have the knowledge of Ink. It is just how to integrate with us. Like if a user is new to Ink, then they will have to go to the resources provided by the Parity. But we also have some examples that can help you understand the Ink. It is not really that difficult if you are familiar with Rust and Solidity, so it would be quite easy for you to get started with Ink language. And with the developments of the Ink, like in the Ink v4, so it's quite easy like compared to the Ink version 3. So there were a lot of issues, or the derived macros requirements are tricky, but it is a breeze in Ink v4, and hopefully v5 will be even more better.
If I can add to that also, Ink, I'm just showing the Hacker Pack, which, as we've been referring to over and over again, is the one place where you can go back to and look for a lot of documentation, not just for the AZERO team, but for like pretty much every team that is involved in a hackathon. A lot of useful documentation on Ink in general, which will be of use in one way or another. So just consult it, deep dive into it. If you have technical questions, do reach out to me or on our Discord, and we will try and connect you with anyone from the teams that you actually have questions for. And I'm sure that if you have questions, Dennis or Nimish will also be here to help you out, both technical and otherwise.
Sure. Cool.
There's a question on the chat box, Dennis, maybe you would like to answer.
Sorry?
Like there's a question by Frank that maybe Dennis can answer. Like if he has something in mind.
Example which you would love to see for like, you mean integration example? So like it depends, like do you want to build like something totally like for us, like for example, a cool small thing could be building bike registrations or something like that. Like if you're really still looking for some ideas, we can also propose some ideas and actually post them somewhere. Yeah, for example, bike registrations, something with the metadata, like maybe store some kind of profile information. If you know, like maybe use our metadata to store some kind of profile information from your dApp, like have some kind of settings or some kind of avatar, some kind of information, and you store them all like under your prefix in our metadata storage. That could be also a cool idea. Yeah.
I have also a suggestion, though I don't know like how difficult it would be. Like if you would like to explore the account extraction option, like a user can start directly with the domains without having to generate their own account ID. So it could be a really exciting thing, because like we aim of having a blockchain ecosystem where the users don't need to rely on the complex keys. They can just get started with the domain IDs. So if you can build something on it, that would be really interesting. It could be a really simple thing, but yeah, it is a complex problem, but even a small step towards it is a good thing.
And that is also an important point, because a lot of the participants in the hackathons expect that, oh, my project is not done yet. I've not fully implemented my vision, which is, I must say that a lot of the hackathon submissions we get are kind of like half-baked and not truly functioning projects. They just have a feature of it which does work, and it's like a proof of concept, and obviously is not fully implemented and working, because again, for it to be working, you probably need to be a company with like at least I don't know, 5 to 7 people to be working fully on it. So it is understandable that to some extent your project will not be perfect. So don't shy away from submitting just because it's not as as you initially imagined. So yes, be brave, submit. Great. Okay. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Nimish. This was amazing.
Yes,
and again, if there are questions that pop up in chat, I will make sure to forward them to you.
Yeah,
thank
you guys for pulling this amazing hackathon off.
have a good day.
See you all.